That's great. I just wondered, when you were working with Boss, for example, on that film, how much influence, if any, did they have on the kind of output of the work? Or was it just kind of like, just get on with it and they support you in anything you do?
Yeah, I mean, they didn't have any influence on anything. And they basically got the finished product you see in the museum. This film is now in a show in Miami at the last Museum of Art, and people from the Gill page will be opened as well.
I think I certainly find it very interesting if we just very quickly go through perhaps the process that you went through in kind of creating that film. And I mean that from the beginning of maybe coming up with the idea or approaching you at Boss and kind of arranging various kind of contracts and working with various people, and the process and the journey that you went through, and perhaps some inspiration, and then kind of at the end, kind of what it meant to you, and also to Hugo Boss as the organizer operation behind it and supported you.
Yes, I mean, I discussed the idea before I started to make the film, to work on the production, and but I never had a feeling they didn't like it, or they would say, I mean, it never happened before, as I said, with the other companies, and I met all kind of different people who looked conservative, but were not conservative at all, who looked very funky, but were very conservative. So, every time it was different, but I mean, they support arts a lot. Hugo Boss, for example, so they used to, the practice of an artist, and it was in commission work. I mean, there are other companies. If you think of Absolute Vodka, you already have the frame of a bottle. I cannot come and say, oh, I don't make lamps or whatever. They probably say, no, there's a frame and you have to follow the rules. But in that case, it was completely open and free. I mean, I could have said that this will be photographs, this will be a film, this will be an installation. That's maybe my freedom as an artist, that it's maybe, that you, if you work in the corporate work, you have to more listen to the client and to his demands and needs and ideas, and negotiate between, as an artist, as I said, it's the nice part that you don't have a boss and you kind of, you can somehow do whatever you want, because it never happened to me before, besides of the BMW project, where actually one of the curators of the show said, no, we have to move this out and this is not going to happen. But that's usually not very common. If an artist has an idea, that the curator would say, oh, I don't like this at all, and we can't do this. At least I don't know about such a situation.
Just one last question now before I kind of throw it to the floor. Your work's very kind of beautiful, it's very aesthetically pleasing. I just wondered, because just trying to think of some questions to ask prior to today, is that we live in a world now that's pretty much obsessed with beauty. People go to extraordinary lengths, cosmetic surgery. We all know about kind of photo retouching, which is kind of pretty everywhere, and it's in a magazine. All films are kind of retouched. I just wondered, you're kind of working with brands as your work is very it's very accessible, it's very good looking. I just wondered if you'd ever thought to do something that was very angry or violent or very ugly, and whether you think you'd be able to have the same success working with these corporations.
Well, I mean, it's a personal, also aesthetical taste. Like everything aesthetic is aesthetics. If I work with potato bags or if I work with shiny things, but from the very first early work, I was really interested in this kind of a fake word, like this kind of perfect installation, which look like covers of magazines, where as an artist, when your artwork is sold, it's usually sold to someone wealthy. I mean, it's a fact that people who collect art are usually very wealthy, because there's no really need to have art. So usually people who really have everything, they buy us art, or they have time to be kind of start to be interested into the arts, they get into the theme, and as an artist, most of the times you don't even know where your work ended up. Like, I know it was sold, maybe I know the name and the they are recent for me to contact, but I never meet this person. I don't know where it, if it's in a storage, if it's in an apartment, if it's in a beautiful house on the beach, I don't know. So it was also about these kind of perfect words where, artwork is also maybe a part of the decoration. So this is why we started to be also interested to involve design furniture and make it kind of very perfect looking. So people get kind of trapped first that, oh, this looks beautiful, but then when they know the concept behind it, maybe even more interesting or not at all. And but the same with the photographs, that they kind of eye-catchers, they kind of traps, but, as I said, I'm not a model and I'm not, this is not how I look in my private life or how I don't lay stockings by 45 degrees in my garden or whatever. It was just kind of this balance between aesthetics and conceptual artwork, because sometimes people complain that conceptual artwork is very dry and you have to read 500 books first to understand an artwork. So this was kind of also maybe more playful way to present conceptual